Radio with your hosts Coco and Gregory, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Glam Estates Radio. Again, happy to be here together with me. My name is Gregory Paputsian, and together with me is my business partner and co-host, Coco Selburn.
Hey, Gregory, how are you?
Hi, Coco. I'm doing great. How are you?
You have a great way of making an introduction.
Always.
Absolutely.
I'm getting better to it.
Oh, you're doing great. Don't you think, guys? Don't you think he's doing a great job? The crowd goes crazy.
Working on it.
You're doing great.
I hope everybody's doing well, and thank you for tuning in.
Thank you very much. Now, I'm still feeling a bit of a high from last week's show.
I know, right? What a show.
That was hysterical. That was so fun.
Vargas Bros, they rocked it here.
They are bros, aren't they?
They are bros. Vargas Bros.
The Vargas Bros. Woo! Stay tuned for more information about them. They were a blast, you know. Those guys have so much to give back about what they've learned through the years of construction and work in the industry. So they've done a tremendous job to really give people a fair shake out there on the market. And speaking of shake, I believe that was after the earthquake shake. That is how they said they got a lot of their promotion of their business. So not that we're encouraging people to wait for anything earth-shattering to happen, but sometimes things happen.
Oh, yeah.
So speaking of happening, hey, I know
debate today, tonight.
My gosh, I know we're having a lot of people who are interested to hear about what could happen, and just on
and it's right here in the valley.
Just about, yeah. It's going to be Simi Valley, actually.
All right, Simi Valley.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's all good. Simi Valley's good too. Everyone's who's going to the debates like, where's Simi Valley? Right? So they're at the Ronald Reagan Library, the Mr. Republican himself. Right? I think he played Mr. Republican in a movie, didn't he, Ronald Reagan? He could very well have. That sounds like something he would have been. And that has really brought to light Mr. Trump himself, who is going to be there, the Trump, and his views. And since he's related to real estate, on a quick note, so much, I can't wait to have a conversation about us and Trump in the future. And
with him? With Trump?
Yes. Mr. Trump, Donald Trump, this is a call out. I'm telling you, you're welcome to be on debate in our studios. We welcome you.
I mean, sure, why
Bring
not?
it.
I mean, I don't know about other things, but for sure he knows real estate, you know?
He absolutely knows real estate. He's been there for the nosedives, the highs, the lows. He's been there for just about everything. And I have been part of his system at some point as well, and I can attest to the fact that he's got some great head up on the others in the industry for giving you information about, should we say it,
For sure.
foreclosure.
Today's big topic.
Yep, foreclosures.
Among other things.
Among other things, yes. Yeah, Donald Trump has seen himself through many things. And he, if nothing else, regardless of his political stand, and again, I would love to have him on the show so we can talk about that.
His political stand?
I would love to chat with him in person. That would be outstanding. Anyway, but I digress.
Let me text him and see if he can come after the debate.
I bet he's got nothing to do. Donald, the Don.
Anyway.
My cousin was on that show, though, The Apprentice, the one in L.A. when he was on that one.
Oh.
He was looking to be the first openly gay apprentice, and that was when he outed himself with us. It was pretty fun, actually.
Okay.
That was funny. Thanks, Don. Hi, Donald Trump. What's up? That was fascinating. So I say we go back a little bit and talk a little bit about his rise, and only in the sense of, not that this is about him, but really only to state that, listen, the guy has figured out how to rise and fall in a way and still make a huge amount of money.
He's a solid proof, of real estate is making you money, and it's a good investment. long term or whatever, it's real estate. Everybody has real estate on their portfolio. It's a must have. This guy knows how to play with it. in different
Play
levels.
with what?
With the real estate.
Oh, thought you're talking about his hair, maybe.
Right. And maybe in different bigger levels, but real estate is a must for everyone. Own a home, start from there. Own a home, don't rent.
That's right. The real estate, the property ladder, as we call it.
Exactly.
The property ladder really is about starting with something. And as we've discussed in the past, and what you may or may not be aware of, gosh, this country has seen a big change. And if you're looking, perhaps you're on the market right now for a first-time home buying situation, and you're not as familiar with what took place when the whole debacle took place in the mortgage industry, and banks were being closed left and right.
And this is what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, foreclosures, people. It's a big deal.
Before we get deeper into that, let's say that our phone number is 818-570-5085. This is the phone number right here at the studio where you can call and ask us questions, say a joke with us, whatever you feel like.
Feel free to go ahead and see if you want to put that on our Facebook page for a quick second.
Sure, I can do that.
While we're getting ready for the show, I can give a little historical situation. I can tell you a little good night story about foreclosures.
You can also, comment. I have our Facebook page right here and Instagram. They're open. You can comment or, leave us a comment or interact
a subject.
With us.
What would you like to talk about?
Questions, concerns, everything.
Yeah. So for foreclosures, that has been, I'm sure, one of the items. If you're let's just take a scenario here. If you're a first-time home buyer and you're looking maybe to consider making your first purchase, and you've spoken with anyone who has made a purchase in the past, likely the word foreclosure has come up. Likely that has been something that people have said to you, hey, look out for a foreclosure. Now, what used to be a foreclosure versus what is a foreclosure now, technically they are the same. However, the difference between now and a few years back is how they're being processed. So the thing to know about foreclosures is
also how the market is now and how it was a few years back.
For sure. That would be correct, sir. Most definitely.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Once again.
Sometimes.
You should give yourself more credit for things. You're so humble.
Go ahead, Coco.
Oh, see, you give it right back to me. So foreclosures. What is a foreclosure? That's a great question. So basically what happens is this. So you have, let's just take a scenario. What was happening way back in the way back? It wasn't that long ago. Gregory, about when do you think the foreclosures?
They were on the rise, 2008 to 2010, 11?
Yeah, those were pretty much the height of foreclosures.
The height,
yeah, was kind of what we call the debacle. The debacle.
It all started, 2007, 2008 with the financial crisis here in U.S. where then as a domino, it spread, in Europe and it affected my country as well.
Did you say infected? Because that would be another word.
Affected.
Oh, affected as well. It did really infect the rest of the world.
I know. I'm working on my accent, people as well. So, bear with me.
It was meant as a pun and a joke. So.
I know.
That's all.
I'm not bothered. So, what did I want to say?
You were saying that's when it started.
Where the mortgage industry was more loose than it is now, and people were getting loans with stated incomes and stuff like that. Coco has
what does a stated income mean?
A great analogy, like the thing you say with a gardener who would make 15,000 and.
Oh, well, that's because loans were happening like this. This is how loans would happen. Now, mind you, if you were an agent and you have nothing to do with maybe generating a loan, most agents keep them separate because that's the professional way to do things. You should not be both an agent and a broker and a loan originator. Gosh, why don't you just do my insurance and my car insurance too? And let's just have you make sure you come over and clean the house afterwards as well. So you'll do a little bit of everything. You're never an expert. So
on anything.
In this sense, what was happening, you would hear lenders doing things like they would say, okay, stated income. This is how it would sound. So, Mr. Paputsian, would you say, as a gardener, you make $15,000 a month, right?
As a gardener, yes. As a realtor, no. I'm only kidding. Go ahead.
Oh my God, this guy is great. It's fun times with each other here. You guys have got to join us. It's so funny. Okay, so yes. Yes, you do make $15,000 a month as a gardener.
As a
Great.
gardener, yes.
And since it's a cash business and no one would ever see that cash, that won't need a bank statement from you. It's literally a statement, meaning that person stated to the lender, or the lender has affirmed that you have said so. You were making $15,000. Maybe it was better. Maybe you were making $20,000 a month in cash, untraceable. I'm sure that was
Right.
That's how most gardeners make their money, right?
Or they send me the down payment somewhere from South Africa. I don't know. Like
That's true. Absolutely. Nigeria is good for
Nigeria.
that too.
Anyway.
There are no scams that have ever known to be come out of Nigeria, I'm sure. So you've got these situations where lenders were originating loans in this way, and the poor gardener, who felt very excited and very emotionally attached to the idea of now owning his own home, a beautiful home, with his family who's standing around him at the table, and the lender is asking him this question, maybe not even in English. Are they all having the same conversation? While the family's standing around saying, hey, Daddy, are we going to get that house? Sure. So unfortunately, let's just put it this way. People were really manipulating the system, and that's how it started.
Yeah.
Not everybody was doing that. Not everyone was doing something wrong, but it was happening too much. It was too easy, and in all fairness to the loan originators out there who were getting started in the industry, I can't say that they were necessarily trained very well up front as to what the consequences could be.
Right.
They were outsourcing these
They were just
individuals.
looking, to make money and more production and stuff like
The
that.
banks, yes.
And, when you do that, you don't care about what's going to happen later. They're like, yeah, well.
And I don't think a lot of them even realized what they were offering to the world. I don't think they got it.
Yeah, yeah.
But a lot of them did.
So
a lot
long
of them were
story
doing
short,
it.
that's what was happening, and then it hit the fan, and then
It sure did, including poor Gardner, poor Mr. Gardner, who would show up and say, gosh, I know I said I made $15,000 a month, but the truth is I can't pay $5,000 a month in a house payment. I just can't. And that's reality. So that's
couldn't make their payments. As a result, bank had to foreclose on their homes, and they came up, with so mmany properties. And long story short, again, that's how foreclosures hit the height, from 2008 to 2010.
yes.
11.
And to make long story longer, so what then would happen was, so people were living in their homes and they would get these opportunities. What did happen? What's important to know about what foreclosures are today is to understand its past, and that's why we're sharing with you what's the history of it, so you know what's different between now and then. And when people are asking you, with good reason, family and friends will say to you with absolutely the best of intentions, hey, check out those foreclosures. Let's talk about those differences so you know them, and you'll be fully ready to take on the ability to discuss or be in the realm of a foreclosure. So then the next step would happen was they couldn't make their payment. Generally what would happen was you didn't make a payment for a month, maybe 2 months, 3 months. Now, there's no demand or regulation that says a bank or the people who are running the loan must send you a notice, what they call a notice of default. That happens after not 30 days, not 60 days, but
After
90 days.
After 90 days.
So 90 days of no payment, or I should say,
means
three
payments.
full missed payments.
Yes.
So if you've missed the payment for 3 months, technically they can file a notice of default, which means you've defaulted or not paid on your loan, and that officially goes on file with the county that your home is in.
And it also becomes public record after that.
Absolutely.
So everybody knows. That's why you get those mails, for those who have
Everybody knows.
missed their payments. They start getting mails from investors or other, or, people who want to buy their homes and stuff like that.
Right. And those are ones, and especially in the past, they were getting these notices. Now, what the differences that were happening was, so you'd have this 90-day period where you didn't make a payment. Some banks were very aggressive and and filed a notice of foreclosure, which means basically they're going to sell your property on the 120th day, not 90 days, but now on that day. If you haven't made your payment up till then.
You mean they filed it immediately?
Right, they would file immediately. So technically the shortest period of time for someone to be fully processed on that would be 120 days.
4 months, yeah.
4 months, and then you'd have to leave, and there could be an eviction, and there could be cash for keys, meaning they were paying people some small amount of money in order to go ahead and leave.
Right.
But let's talk about, those were the extremes. They were very short term. The reality of that was, man, people were living in homes forever, and they were trying to. They were scared.
Yeah.
And they were scrambling to try to make their payment back. They didn't want to lose their home. They didn't want to lose their investment, with good reason. And
of course, there's a lot of emotion involved into that.
Sure.
People are like, it's your asset. It's your home. It's your home. It's not even. It's your home. You don't want to lose it. No way. It's your family that lives there and all that. So it's really, 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 really hard.
Yes.
When things like that are happening.
And you've got, go back to the gardener, this poor gardener who's got his family who was standing around him is also now standing around going, but daddy, $5,000 a month times 4, gosh, don't you have $20,000 you can suddenly pay the bank?
Right.
It's tough. And people were staying in as long as they could at the time. Again, the mandate is different than what was happening. There's no requirement for them to give more time, and there's no requirement, meaning the banks, to extend the time or shorten the time. They just had to hit the minimum. They couldn't try to set a foreclosure date or an auction date less than 120 days.
Right.
They just couldn't. So then what they would do is people were trying to refinance. People were trying to save their homes. They were trying to get a modification of their loan,
Whatever
get a
they
reduction.
could, yeah.
There were many programs that were available at the time because so many people lost their homes. The flip side of that was, even though people lost their homes and then they eventually became part of the renting community, whether they wanted to or not, it forced them out of the ability. If you had been processed on either short sale or foreclosure, we'll talk about short sales a different day.
Yeah.
But
Can't talk about everything the same.
no, foreclosures is enough for one moment of time to talk about.
Right.
For you guys especially. We could talk about it all night. But with the foreclosure, you would then have this period where you try to do some sort of a change or try to do a modification. There were many things that were offered and many things that didn't work. So most people were staying in the home with the hope to save the home and save the loan. Most
They were
of the
staying
time.
for what? Like, what's the longest you have seen actually?
Oh, yeah.
Couple of years?
The longest on record I've ever heard of was 3.5 years.
3.5 years, yeah.
With no payment and
Not a single payment.
no foreclosure date and just pending. And I'll tell you what the reason behind that would be. In most reasons was, at that time, that is no longer the case, guys. This is not the case now. At that time, there were so many properties available for banks to now have to take back. Then
to process.
they had to process them. They had to get manpower to get trained on how to handle the foreclosure. Then once they own it, then they're responsible for taxes. And guess what? There became laws in place that required those properties to be maintained. So they had to maintain them. That means if nobody lived in it for 3 years,
huge cost for the banks as well. So that's why.
yeah. So you've got things like you've got the lawn. They can't have a dead lawn. So they were making them maintain or cut them down or keep them to a minimum. So all these properties, you're talking, really millions of homes that became
all
available.
across the nation. Oh my gosh.
And so then
So
what
many.
the resolution became was they've got all these on record. They have all these properties. So the inventory became huge, right? So then it became popular to sell these properties. And many times they were in bulk. Exactly. You nailed it right on the head. So we had many investing people coming in, especially from Canada and outside the U.S., especially because they were offering at that time these visas to assist people for multiple units. When you bought X number of properties and you hit a certain price point, you could then be a manager, and then you had a visa because you had to manage properties. And another group that took on the most of these, a lot of these retirement firms have taken, or companies have taken on rentals. For example, Blackstone, huge company, has taken on an enormous number of properties over the years now. They took them in bulk. The public never saw them. The banks were scrambling. Holy schmoly, how are we going to get these off our hands? We got to get rid of these suckers. What are we going to do?
They make a good deal to Blackstone or any other Blackstone in
Right.
bulk and sell them in bulk in hundreds of properties.
Right,
to one
just at a
company.
time, like,
Just,
10 million in properties. Okay,
So
great,
they
just
take
get them
them
off
off
their,
their-
get
yeah.
them off their hands. And that was the basis for what we see now. The trend was those people who did lose their homes, they became people who were no longer able to get a loan for from 2 to 7 years. If it's a foreclosure, 5 to 7 years.
Oh, yeah.
So they can't get a loan. Those people are just getting out of that scenario. The laws have changed a bit. They've loosened up, but initially they were excluded.
You're talking how many, like if someone had a foreclosure, how many
many
years
years?
it takes them to be able to buy another property again?
Correct, to
Yeah,
get a
yeah.
loan for another property. You can purchase
Correct.
if it's cash.
I mean, yeah, I mean, yes.
People always like cash, don't they?
So that's what was happening, and this still affects us today because they control rent now. Like these big companies with all these properties that they have, they control the rent.
That's exactly right. So you saw this huge bulk of people who were displaced from home ownership and now became renters. The flip side became that these properties they used to be just rentals that were apartments, right? And they weren't so hot necessarily in the beginning. Then the people saw that, there's going to be an influx of renters. We better fix these up, and now we can charge more money.
Right.
Also for the multiple unit residences, they did the same thing with those. For apartment complexes, maybe larger complexes, then they were tearing down buildings. You saw a lot of new construction, apartment, quote unquote, luxury buildings go up. So between the luxury buildings and now this huge bulk of rental properties that these groups own, they all picked up, X number of homes. They did work on them, made them quote unquote luxury, right?
Without air conditioning?
What is luxury?
Or without.
Right. And, obviously we're a little tainted by what we see as quote unquote luxury. We've seen everything that's considered luxury because it has, tile floor.
Right.
So what? Tile floor, and it has a form of granite.
So luxury. So glam.
Oh, so glam.
Not.
And the same, you can see everything from, as long as it has granite countertops, I kid you not, they consider that as a luxury property. They don't change out the cabinets even in the kitchen. And even if they have, so now you've got this huge amount of people. What's happened to them, and what they've done is put the middle class, the majority of people who were in homes, now
We're homeowners.
We're homeowners, exactly, Gregory. And now they're renters. And what's happened to the rental amount? How much are people renting now?
Increased like.
It's gigantic, right?
Yeah.
And so now it's kind of the opposite problem. They couldn't make their mortgage payment, and for a couple of years, they could make their rent payment.
Yeah.
And now they're being forced, their rentals are so high. Not only are they having trouble paying their rent even, gosh forbid you need to change apartments or places that you're renting.
Again, yeah.
You've got to requalify. You've got to do at least two times the monthly rate in order to get into
Or downsize,
that property. The new place, and there's competition like crazy just for a rental.
That's why rentals are so hot.
And another thing that Gregory was going to say that I just took out of your mouth. Sorry, Gregory.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
I do that with him all the time. Sorry. Was that Now that you're paying this much in rent, you also can't save.
Exactly.
You don't have discretionary income. You certainly can't save to get another home. Almost everyone who was out of a home in those years went back looking to get into a home and were refused because they didn't have the money. And now what the difference is that the lending industry has completely changed to the other direction.
Yeah.
Went from the far left and now we're super, super far right.
Way more strict than it was back then. And I mean, in many cases, it's a good thing, but less people are going to be able to buy a home, to be a homeowner one day, you know, and they're being forced to continue renting.
That's right. And we've eliminated, accidentally or not, and those who have seen this understand where we're coming from with this. The middle class has disappeared significantly. What used to be a defining factor for middle class was home ownership. Mm-hmm. And that has been eliminated to a huge degree. Since what year? Do you know what year?
Away.
Did you see in the report that I sent the other day, did you happen to catch what year? I don't know if you remember what year. This is the lowest number of home owners in the country since what year?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I read 1967.
Wow.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Wow.
Our home ownership is down that far. And that is a scary place, in my opinion, for the country to be.
My opinion is going to be continuing increasing. Decreasing.
You think it's going to decrease?
Yeah. Less and less people are going to be able to buy homes.
I think that without the changes that you meant that if the industry hadn't changed what they were doing, like you're seeing at the new trends that they have.
I got a little confused. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I don't know if you're confused. I think maybe I'm the one who's confused.
Yeah.
Because I think that what we were talking about earlier is that if the industry hadn't changed, there would be less ability for people to buy. But you're right. It's scary. It can go either way. And I think that were you talking about because of the Republican debate and if the Republicans become more available?
No. The way the rents are going and all this, I mean, the economy has gotten better, but the rentals are high than ever, I think. And so that's why people are less able to buy homes now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They have been less able.
And I see that the rentals are going to continue increasing.
They are, yes. Rentals.
So the homeowners are going to be decreasing.
Right.
Is what I'm saying.
Except for now that they've had a little bit more changes with the lending, like we were talking about earlier today.
Yes.
So we are seeing that that's possible. The only way it's going to change, I think that's what you meant. Oh, okay, I get it. All right. I'm slow today. Big deal. Big deal.
It's okay.
Stop giving me such a hard time.
I didn't even say anything, people. I mean,
Well, meaning that if people don't take up and start doing something about it, certainly.
Yes.
The only way it's going to change is if we are going to help you guys get there and you are, or people you know are considering or able to buy for your own sake, for your family's sake, for the ability to have any type of property. Please do yourself a favor. Buy something. Buy something, even if it's something that you rent out. I know that goes against what we're saying, but it's kind of like the fight against the machine. In the end, if we continue down that path and people don't take up the initiative to buy, and we're still seeing people wanting to do that, that you'll see in this country, we would end up with just two classes. Those who own and those who are landlords versus renters.
And I've seen that with my own eyes. You know, in my country, that's what eventually has happened, especially now. And right now, even the homeowners that can still, you know, that they have properties because of all this taxation and all that, they cannot even afford their own property that is paid off. But that's another story. But I'm just saying.
Right.
Well,
we saw that here too, and then that kind of comes in waves.
Like in Greece right now, there's no question that you can buy a home. Like, not that the rents are high, but now they've made it so expensive to maintain a home with the taxation. There's taxes even your electric bill. You pay taxes for your home every month.
Right.
They've done some crazy things there.
Well, yeah, and that's. We take a little responsibility over here for all that.
Well,
that's
yeah,
really
that's
how it started.
I mean, it's not. We were not like the best economy in the world, but 2008 and then actually 2009 we started the panic started spreading over there, around 2009, and we really started feeling it. And that was, I left 2010, and my friends are telling me like it's 10 times, maybe more, worse than when I left. I haven't, but I can.
And that what defines a country, and that's why it's so important we have these conversations. What is foreclosure and what? That's the truth, people. We get down to it. Home ownership is part of your ability to have financial freedom. That is the reality.
Exactly.
If there were more people who were still able to own in Greece, there wouldn't be as much trauma financially. Right. That's reality. I'm not saying Greece just because we're working in Greece, but any country, any place. It's a global picture. I'm just saying to you out there that in my experience and my opinion and what I've seen happen, for your own sake, you're in a good position to think about buying something. Buy something.
So, Coco, I will ask you this question that we get a lot from our clients.
Tell me.
I'm a first-time home buyer or I'm an investor, and I look for deals under the market value, under market price.
So do we.
Like the good old times.
Yeah.
Can you find me those?
No.
Why?
They don't exist.
Why?
Because there aren't
Find
enough
me, Coco.
properties.
I think you're not a good realtor. Find them, Coco. My friend told me that they bought a foreclosure and now they made a lot of money.
Absolutely, they did. What year? My mother's uncle's friend,
2010.
shoemaker, bought a shack. Hey, listen, there were deals to be made.
They did it. Why you can't do it? Why you can't
they
find
don't
that?
exist.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, that's the
Honestly,
truth,
guys. It's
if
a
they
myth.
existed, we would sell them to you.
Yeah, it's a myth. It's a myth.
They're gone.
People are still calling us like, oh, I want to buy this. This is a foreclosure. It's going to auction or this or that. Well, auctions. We'll have to make another episode. We have to do another show for auctions, which are a ripoff. But anyway.
Completely.
But yeah, they're like, oh, I want to invest, my money, 500,000, let's say, in a property that it's, for 800, so I can make a huge amount of money.
Sure.
Like my friend did it in 2009, 2010. Well, we can't do it. And they get mad at us, but it's not us. They don't exist.
And I'll tell you why.
And banks have become a little smarter right now, so it's
And to finish what I was saying about the foreclosure, sorry about that.
And every time when you see the economy is getting better, what? When you see the economy is getting better, these things continue. These things disappear. These things show up only when the economy is bad. So on the other hand, be happy that they don't exist.
That's right. It's a good sign in some ways. The foreclosure part, the difference between what they were then as they are now, just to touch back, I don't think I actually finished that statement. Not that I would ever have a spinning wheel of topics, ever. Mm-hmm. That never happens with me whatsoever. So a foreclosure then versus a foreclosure now, first of all, they almost don't happen at all now. And the difference between now and then is the banks have smartened up big time. They are not losing a penny. Right. They're not going to sell for $1 less than what the market says. As a matter of fact, most of the time, they're so in touch with the market, they think that they can get more than what the listed price is. So think nothing of the type of property that you're putting your hands on or trying to get. If you think that someone has told you in the past, which would be accurate for their experience at that time, that they got a foreclosure and it was a really good deal. I'm sure it was. No question. However, times have changed. We also can't get coffee for a dime anymore at most places. But
why? We could. 50 years ago.
Take you to downtown LA. There's one place I think that still sells it. But anyway, my point to you guys is please don't hold on for that. You're going to be frustrated. You'll be irritated. You'll be upset that you're waited out for something and have false hope for something. There are still good deals to be had, but they are not necessarily foreclosures. In fact, I would argue that a foreclosure is not only more difficult and you can frequently pay more than you need to. Banks are not helpful in accommodating a buyer. They do not care if you need another week. They don't care. They will cancel you in the middle of escrow if you need another week to finish your loan. They don't care.
Plus, they take a lot of time.
They take their time, and one department doesn't speak to the other. And I would say they're much more complicated. And if you are facing a foreclosure today yourself, if you're an owner and you're facing a foreclosure at this point, please do not kid yourself. There is no safety net anymore. There's no loan modification. There's no way to refinance, really,
Yeah, because
out of the situation.
people like homeowners still think that I can do something.
I
because
can wait.
The whole thing is like too emotional.
It's tough. Yeah, I don't blame them for feeling that pain.
Right.
It's difficult, but just know if you've gotten to the point where you are yourself in the middle of a notice of default, please call us. We can help you, but you have to call. We won't know
Right.
otherwise. I mean, we could go on the public record and send you a letter, but everyone and their mother is doing that. And you have to find someone who cares about what's going to happen with you. Like with Gregory and I, we care about what happens.
And we've helped a lot of people.
It's happened. It's happened to people we care about, people we love, and we've helped them through that situation. So please, if you're in that situation, call 323-425-9484. Do not wait. It's incredibly important. Every minute counts.
Right.
So don't hesitate to contact us. We will get you through it, but you have to call.
And we've done it. We've done it many times. We know how to do it.
That's right. So we've been here for it and we understand it. And then on continuing on that with the foreclosures, knowing that what's available on the market and where you can go ahead and find deals. When those investors call when they made like 8 purchases in 2009 for nothing, and they're calling today, I think most people get now that foreclosures have their pros and their cons. The pros are that they're something of the past for the most part. They have picked up a little bit. And let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing available on the market. Many people who are the reason why properties are valued the way they are. And now with foreclosures at that time, like we talked about, we had surplus, right? We had too many properties, not enough buyers. Now it's the opposite issue. And I think the trend was, you pointed out to me yesterday that the market was showing that we had evened out a little bit on both sides. So now sellers who were considering whether or not they should sell and had nowhere to go, now the market has given them that plush point.
It's more neutralized now.
Yeah, they can both buy and sell at the same time, which was a problem before.
But you know what? You can always find a good deal. There's so many up and coming neighborhoods where they have really, really, really good deals, and you can make money in long-term sort. I don't know, like in 3 to 5 years, you can make a good amount of money if you wait a little bit. In up and comings.
We have a client. The true story. He closed his deal June 12th of this year, right? And
was it June?
Right. We're 3 months and 4 days later.
He did some work in there, just cosmetics, like not big stuff.
Yeah.
Like he fixed up a little bit the kitchen. He did a renovation, but it's a condo. But I mean, no structural. He didn't add square footage. Nothing.
It's a condo.
Like that. Yeah, it's a condo.
So there's only so much you can do.
Yeah. And how much is he selling now?
He's going to sell it for about $125,000 more in 3 months. That's a rarity, guys. It's a rare thing. But we did find him a good deal, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
You found him a good deal, actually. I had nothing to do with it.
So you're going to sell it now so I can find him another one.
That's true. Now he's moving on up. That's his property ladder. That was his first home purchase. And he wasn't from this country. So don't let that be something that's on your mind. Like, oh, can I qualify? Listen, if it's going to work, it's going to work. The only way we'll know is if you call and we help you find out the answer for yourself.
Exactly.
And are we running any promotions right now?
Sure.
Are we?
Why not?
Oh my God, you're so funny. So
what's our program?
Okay, well, for those who are interested and want to really get into the program, we're going to put our money where our mouth is. What? Mm-hmm. I heard that high pitch. No, seriously, if you're interested in buying or selling and you list or you get into escrow with us before October 1st, we're going to give you 20% back of the commissions. What?
20%, you said?
Sorry.
Oh my God.
Sorry,
You're kidding
Gregory.
me, Coco.
Yeah, I know. You'll be fine. So that means, for example, if you're, let's say if it's 2.5% on $1 million property, that's $5,000 back in your pocket at the close of escrow. So that just means that if you're in the middle of getting into escrow between now, you start with us, just call and register. You can call and register with us. We'll put you in the system, and that way you're insured to get that. And you can pass that along to other people, by the way. If you have a family member or a friend who's interested.
Spread the word.
Yeah. I mean, we'll honor that. We have no intention of hiding from anybody, and we're here to make things happen. We believe in what we're doing because we want this country to have full ability to be powerful and have wealth for themselves and re-empower the middle class and those who believe they couldn't before can. And
let's see, how many more people can we put into homes by the end of the year? Let's see.
Ooh, let's have a contest. Oh, I like the way this is going. And then we can really give back in a huge way. I like that idea. So there's a lot to be done. So guys, if you're thinking about, even if it's a condo and it's anywhere in Southern California, if it's a house, do yourself a favor. Listen, we're here to help you with that. If you're looking to get into something bigger, maybe you have a 5-bedroom house and 3 bathrooms, and you're like, listen, it's just me and my spouse. We've been here. The kids are gone. They're out. I really don't need this house.
Right.
I mean, it's great to have it, but you still have to pay to air condition it. You have to heat it. You have the utilities on it. And do you really want to maintain it?
You can downsize and buy another one and renting it out.
And we'll honor both sides of that transaction for you. So we'll give you the reduction on each side. Man, that water bottle's going to hit me in the head, right?
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, enough.
Why don't you go back to
change the subject?
Why don't you go back to Starbucks? Like, you were offering Starbucks coffee, you were offering burgers.
Cheeseburgers.
Yeah, you were offering stuff like that. I was totally fine.
I'm horrible. Well, I'm sorry. No, I'm not.
Just kidding. Just kidding. We love helping you. Do we have any listings, Coco?
We have.
That we would like to let people know?
Well, we have that. We have that one coming on the market.
Right.
If you're looking for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo in West Hollywood, we've got the score of a deal for you. Beautiful. Beautiful.
This guy has made it so nice. So nice.
It's gorgeous. I was going to ask him if he wanted to find a renter for it, but to be honest with you.
We have a call.
Outstanding.
Hello, you reached Glam Estate Show.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Josh.
Hey! It's our biggest fan we're his biggest fan. How are you, Josh?
I was thinking about you today. I was like, is he going to call? Is he not going to call? I was looking at the time. It's almost 6:50.
He's our resident caller.
How are you, Josh?
Last call, Josh.
Woohoo!
Exactly.
You were here to give you a high
a question
five.
that I've always had, kind of a goofy question, but, like when you're owning a condo, and I know that when you own a condo and like the building has like a pool or a gym or other kind of facilities, what happens if somehow the person that owns the condo fails to pay whatever the kind of maintenance fees that they're required to pay as part of the condo? I mean, is that a problem that occurs frequently? And if that does occur, what kind of action is taken against the resident? Because obviously, I know that paying off the mortgage of the condo is a separate issue from the paying the fee, for those kinds of like maintenance facility type things.
What a great question. I'm so thrilled that you called with this. Josh, you're the best.
Good question,
Great.
Josh.
So here's how it would look. In the past, it was that if you hadn't made your payments and you hadn't made your payments on your home, certainly you likely didn't make your payments on your HOA or your homeowners association.
Right.
So what would happen would be is that if there were an agreement with the bank that you were going to take less, that would be one thing. Likely you aren't going to be able to pay off the homeowners association. So what was happening at that time, buyers were coming in and paying it off at the purchase. Now, that's almost unheard of today. So today, that would be resolved. Someone has to make the agreement. That's only in a short sale situation. Other than that, or foreclosure, that has to be paid. But if you're not facing that and you're just making a regular purchase, guaranteed there is no way that escrow or that purchase will be completed without it being paid off. So the buyer would be, regardless, they would know up front in the beginning what they're facing and whether or not that was something that had to be paid off before escrow were finished. But it's almost unheard of today for a buyer to have to even consider that to be an issue. That's the seller's responsibility. Or they have to take a reduction somewhere across the board. Sometimes there's a negotiation for that, but almost unheard of. Are you interested?
Interesting. Well, cool.
Are you ready to buy, Josh?
Absolutely. Sometime soon.
Let's do it, Josh.
Well, great. I've always wondered about that because it seems like some condos, it's a pretty hefty monthly maintenance fee. It's completely separate from your mortgage. If there's a pool, if there's other things. I've heard that, you can get up there at certain facilities depending on the place.
We've seen as high as, the highest I've seen is $1,900 a month for a homeowners association. But that's
wow. Well,
yep.
It definitely does question the concept of not renting if you still have to end up paying that anyway.
Well, if you're buying a $3 million condo in Beverly Hills, you probably don't care what the homeowners association would be because that's your lifestyle that you're living anyway, and you may be supplying it for yourself and your family. It all depends on what you're doing. But most homeowners associations cover utilities to some degree. So you remove some of your billing for that. They also maintain the pool and the equipment, and generally they're a reasonable amount considering what they cover. So it may seem like a lot, but most of the time they're covering insurance, they're covering utilities, maybe water, sometimes electric, and even cable on occasion. Mm-hmm. So it can be many things.
They even have valet. They have
What, Josh?
No, I'm saying it's good to know about the whole process with condos. It's nice to be able to be at a place where they have certain things there for you, like where they fix, something needs to be fixed or things like that.
Yep, absolutely. They handle the outside, not necessarily the inside of your unit, unlike a rental, but they usually cover a lot of good things. And the idea is to maintain the equity in your place, and that you have something that you can rely on to keep your value in your home. What a great call you had for that. Josh, you're a rock star.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Josh. And keep in mind, if you buy before the end of the year, we give back 20% to every buyer. So if you're interested before the end of the year.
Now it's the end of the year? I thought it was before October 1st.
Well, it's okay. For Josh, we'll extend it. No, I'm kidding.
Absolutely.
You make an exception for me.
For you, yeah. So,
well, thank you so much, guys.
Spread the word. Thank you. Thank you, Josh.
Josh,
awesome.
You're amazing. Thanks for calling in. Hey, you should check out our videos when you get a second. They're not bad.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Okay, guys.
Have a great night. Thank
soon.
you.
All right. Bye.
Well, we're almost at the end.
Well, Josh, what did you learn about? So what do you think about let's talk about the rebates again. What were you going to say?
Let's say before the end of the year, 20% back to people who are going to buy or sell with us.
Okay, so then what are we changing then? Are we giving them a cheeseburger and Starbucks if it's before October 1st?
Yes.
What about October 1st? What's the incentive before October 1st? Give me something more. Herman.
You are good in that.
Okay, so if you're in escrow, okay, I'm going to totally up the ante. Here it shows up. You ready, everybody?
Right.
Make sure you tell us if you've got the rebate. The code is, what's going to be the code?
I don't know.
Something.
Yeah.
The code is something.
We'll tell you next week.
Tell you next week.
This week we didn't come up with a.
So if it's before October 1st, I'm going to be all out and say 25%.
Okay.
I'm going to pay for that heavily after the show is over.
Okay.
Just know I'll be running out of the building, ladies and gentlemen. But it's all for you. We're here for you guys. Seriously, take advantage of it. Spread the word. If you're thinking about it, this is a great time for you. Don't hesitate, because we don't know what next year's going to bring. We don't know what interest rates are going to look like.
We have elections.
We have elections, and prices can change, not to mention what the biggest part of that will be, the interest rate. So please, for your own sake, move forward. Don't hesitate. Call us. Call us at 323-425-9484 or
562-537-2595. You can also find us on Facebook, Glam Estates. We have Instagram, and
yeah, we do have Instagram.
you can tweet us, and you can send us a message in a bottle. And
yes, message in a bottle. My favorite message.
And
right?
glamestates.com.
Yay, glamestates.com.
Great things are coming up. Stay tuned, everybody. Thank you for listening today and watching.
And
until the next one,
glam it up, baby.
You're listening to Glam Estates Radio with your hosts Coco and Gregory, right here on LA Talk Radio.